Left, middle, right. These are the headlines in politics, real estate entrepreneurs and agents need to know. We definitely have one you need to know about. The second one, I kind of just threw it in here. It's a very terrible story, but I do want to mention.
Well, you didn't just throw it in here. You deliberately put it in there. We had multiple conversations about it.
What's the first headline?
The first one is CNBC. Supreme Court likely to rule that Biden student loan plan is illegal, experts say. Here's what that means for borrowers.
Yeah, the official ruling hasn't come down, but people believe that the Supreme Court's going to say, you know what, you can't do this. You can't go and forgive all of this. We covered this on a left, middle, right. Okay. And at the time I said, it looked like this was going to happen at the time. So I said, hey, if this happens, this is an opportunity to use in your marketing, in your advertising for people who, millennial demographic is this huge demographic of home buyers right now, but they're strapped with this student loan debt. It's killing the dream of home ownership for a lot of people.
Right.
So you might want to be out in front of your database, your community, and say, hey, here's the information. And here's how now we can get you've freed up your debt to loan income, your ratio. Here's how we can get you into a house. Use that as a marketing pitch, right? I got a lot of heat on TikTok for saying that, but it just seemed obvious to me.
Oh, but that sounds like that's what you were looking to do.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And now same thing, okay? Mm-hmm. I don't care what the government does. You can debate whether this is a good decision by the Supreme Court. Certainly it would increase inflation. You give more free money out. So maybe that was a consideration during these times. There was no solution to hold the universities accountable. It's not like they were going to stop giving out free mortgages. So I think I'm basically saying that I'm with 40% of the country that say you just don't give out the free money and forgive student loan debts. 50% of Americans though wanted this to be forgiven. I bet you a whole bunch of them had student loan debts, right? Of
course. I mean, makes sense.
I don't care what the government does either way. You can use this as an opportunity to market to these same people. Okay, bad news. You're not getting your loan forgiven. We're going to host an educational seminar here in the office. We're going to host some webinars with a financial planner on how to build a budget so that in 24 months, despite the fact that you have this debt, you can continue to pay down the student loan debt and build towards home ownership. Right. I'm going to put you on a 24-month plan. Build a plan. If you're in a community where there's a ton of recent college grads looking for rents and places to buy, build a 24-month plan in your community. Have it articulated like Opendoor did a great job with their exclusive plan. Right. To go out and use that in your marketing.
Let's be honest, though. I mean, that should be happening regardless of whether there is any type of student loan debt. I just did that. I went to that high school. I was trying to get people.
Yeah, you did the job fair. How'd that go?
I did great. I have to tell you. So I sat there with a mortgage person.
Nicole did a job fair at a local high school for people interested in real estate. If you're building a team, if you're looking for interns, this might be something you might consider.
So what I loved, again, I partnered up with, again, we were both alumni. She was a mortgage broker. And it was lovely to see the amount of students that were asking real questions. Like, how do I build credit? How do I make,
they don't teach that.
No, they're like, how do I make bad credit? Like, it was lovely. It was beautiful. She was sort of talking to them about not getting into the mortgage industry, more about buying a house, out of high school, because you can get one when you were 18 or 19. But I think they were great. It was a great experience regardless of there being actual student loan debt, because it was a hard one, because obviously these individuals were coming with their parents.
And they're high school, so they don't have the student loan debt yet.
No, they don't. But again, like, when they're with their parents, and of course their parents are like, it's college. So
when they asked me what bad debt was, I'd say, well, it's college. Bad debt is college.
I went to college. I had college debt.
College.
Luckily,
cars,
my parents paid for it, but
credit cards. That's all in the bad debt category.
Yeah.
In college, you can't even file bankruptcy.
So
for.
I think I think
Homes
these are
not.
I think having any type of seminar for any especially this time of year, everyone is home from college between Christmas and probably the second week of January. Invite them in, tell them about credit, tell them about how to build good credit, tell them when they friggin' apply for those credit cards as they're walking through.
Here's where a lot of agents are gonna come up with an excuse. Well, I'm gonna have all these college kids. I'm gonna do all this stuff, and None of them are they're just all gonna go back to college. They're
Okay,
gonna buy a house.
but
But here's the thing: you're building your database. You're getting all these
Well,
emails.
we talked about
and
this
these phone numbers,
episodes ago. You're
and-
building a career, not a year.
And how many kids in college
Yeah.
are gonna have a parent or parents over the next 2, 3, 4 years that say, "Hey, we're thinking about selling the house. How do you feel about that?" Oh, well, I'm on this newsletter. These guys are fun. They're fantastic.
Yeah.
Throw this great party every year.
Yeah.
They had me in for this.
Definitely listen with us because of the party.
You should definitely go talk to them, right? Okay.
Anyway,
what's the second,
sorry.
What's the
Oh,
second
sugar
headline?
This is the New York Post, University of Idaho murders update, what we know so far.
Yeah, I don't know if you've been following this. This is a tragedy, the stabbing
awful.
of 4 college students in Idaho. There's not much that, there's no positives on this story.
There's
at all.
zero positives.
So I'm not even highlighting a positive. I just was thinking about it. And there's a company.
You weren't just thinking about it. You've been falling into holes. You've been talking to insurance folks.
I hate seeing, now that I have kids, I hate seeing these stories, and I like start to look at them because I'm like, oh my gosh, it's just so traumatic. But years ago, before we even did the Real Word Pod, I did an episode of an old podcast, and we were talking about people dying in the house and what that does to the property value of the house. If there's a tragedy in the house, there's a lot of data that shows you 20 or more % of a discount.
Right. I mean, I'm sure everyone's seen the Netflix special on, what is his name? Dahmer, right? I mean.
There was this company that reached out to us at the time. It's called diedinthehouse.com. Has anyone ever died in your house?
I'm so sorry. What?
So this is a website.
Where did you find this?
Diedinhouse.com.
You don't respond to my texts, but you're finding died in the house?
They reached out to me years ago and they said, hey, you did that episode. We'd love to talk to you. We did a little episode with them. So you can put in your address and has anyone died
55
in this address? You want to put on yours right here live on the...
Yeah.
Live on the Real Word. There it is.
I mean, my house is 1875.
Connecticut law does not consider death, no matter how it occurred, to be a material fact that is required to be disclosed. If a buyer asks the seller in writing, then the seller and or agent must disclose the death if they know.
I love it.
So they're basically, I guess for that state, they're saying, hey, this isn't, so in states where they disclose, it probably pops up. But then they do other reporting.
So
meth
we
lab.
should tell everybody. A meth lab. Oh my God. Do you know how
it
many?
It says yes for meth lab on your house, by the way.
What?
Doesn't. All right. Here's what it got me thinking. It got me thinking about this old company, diedinhouse.com. Hey, if diedinhouse.com, we should reconnect. We should talk. Maybe there's something with BAM there, because I think it's just a funny company.
People do ask. I actually appreciate that they're saying that for Connecticut, because I feel like now as agents, we could push everybody. Like, go to this website. It'll tell you exactly what you need to know. In
the comments, what's the law in your, is there a disclosure law in your state for people dying in the house? Anyways,
we digress.
Going back to this story, I called my insurance agent. I'm like, imagine owning that house.
Yeah.
And
it's over.
You just had this national story. The house is shown all the time.
All the time.
In fact, I mean, put up the New York Post
and there's
photo.
multiple.
There's blood dripping down the foundation.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
There's a 4-person stabbing. You don't want to put that in? All right, Bobby says no, we're not putting that in. You can go look it up. It's in the New York Post. You've probably seen the photo yourself. This is graphic. This is disgusting.
It was a stabbing.
Who would ever buy this house?
Yeah.
So you basically have to tear this house down.
Right.
You basically do. I mean, there's blood dripping on the foundation.
Right.
You have to tear this house down.
Yeah.
There's no chance somebody's going to buy this house. I don't care what kind of renovation you go in and do and make this thing look pretty. It is not going to be desirable. I don't even want to step foot in there knowing what happened.
But I'm kind of curious, though, if no matter what is built there,
Right. So I say to my insurance agent, this person had the worst luck of all time. The owner of the house. Not the worst luck. Obviously, the parents, the family members.
Course.
Okay, so the second worst luck of all time, right? In terms of homeowner, I'm just keeping this into like a real estate somewhat category here.
Yeah.
So they're now stuck with this. She said, well, the insurance will come in and do a cleanup. But what, are you going to clean up this place? And nobody's ever going to step foot in there. So you're like, you said before the show, foreclose on it.
Well, no. You would do like in lieu of keys, and you hand your keys over.
That's a hit on your credit.
I mean, what else do you have to do?
Yeah. What if you own the house cash?
Well, yeah. I mean, you knock it down. You
knock it down and make it what?
I don't know. Or maybe
a park. You donate to the town. Maybe the town will buy it from you.
That's what. Again, the Dahmer, that apartment complex that Dahmer was a part of. They knocked it down, and now it's a beautiful grassy area in the middle of the city. You donate. I would donate it. Donate it.
Yeah, maybe donate to get a tax write-off, depending on what type of personal situation. I've called the insurance agent to see, is there any coverage for
zero
someone?
coverage?
There's no coverage for this. Insurance companies might be a little add-on. Maybe, hey,
just for murder.
You want $50?
$50. I mean, it doesn't happen
nobody
that
would
often.
Buy that. Actually, nobody would buy that. Are you expecting?
I don't know. I mean, I got
crazy
meth labs in my house.
It would have to like encompass some other wild stuff outside of just murder.
Could you imagine though? Because then more husbands may murder more wives.
Yeah. I think that's a no-go. Okay.
We totally digress.
Anyways,
this is an awful situation.
Terrible. That was maybe the worst topic I've ever covered. Although I think if you've never checked out diedinhouse.com or you were unaware of that, that may be a link that you send out to your...
Are we keeping this in this podcast?
Yeah. That might be a link that you send out to your buyers if they ask you, hey, just go on here. I don't know, but maybe you can go on here. Anyways.
At the end of the day, I do hope that they find...
Episode 250 was long.
Whomever is killing these people. Because you're saying that you fell into a hole and it's happened before.
Yeah.
So,
hey guys, appreciate you checking out this episode of The Real Word. If you want the full episode, go over to the Broke Agent YouTube. That's where we're hosting the full podcast. If you want to continue to see the segments broken out and the short clips, stay right here on The Real Word YouTube.